Please begin.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all in this webinar. So today's our webinar topic is webinar on AngularJS. So for this webinar, I invited Mr. Joel Christine. So Joel sir is senior software engineer in Wipro company. So he has been working as Angular front-end and back-end developer. So total he has 4.2 year experience. So firstly, he was worked in Meditech software company for 3 years, and now currently he is working in Wipro Limited from last 1.2 years. So without wasting much time, I would like to invite Mr. Joel sir to proceed. Joel sir,
So, hi everyone.
hello sir. Sir, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. So, hello guys. Today I'm gonna give you a brief introduction about the Angular first, and after the Angular thing, we will move ahead to the material, which is the thing or which is the technology by which we can create the front end. So, let me share my screen. Okay, I hope you guys can see my screen. Okay. So first let me go to the Angular thing. So what is an Angular first? So basically the Angular is a technology, development technology, which is mainly introduced and used by Google only. So let's say if you are the Google developers uses the Angular framework to create the API front end and back end development. Second, if you will check for the Facebook, so React.js is the thing used by the Facebook. Same way, different companies has established certain programming languages in which they code their softwares, their tools, and all. So Angular is introduced and used by Google. So the site currently you can see on my screen is the Angular site. Any detail that you are looking for, you want to build using the Angular, the a total guidance will be given through this website. This is the Angular website. So by get start, you can check what are the facilities, which are the components, features, and all of the Angular. Here is the site. You can note down the website link angular.io, or you will simply Google it and it will show you this link. This is for the Angular only. For coding in Angular, you should have Visual Studio installed in your computer, as in mine. Here is the Visual Studio. So once you have Visual Studio, you can go ahead with installing the Angular. How you can install the Angular? The basic guidance, like how to set up and all, is given over here. Here are the basic commands to install the Angular CLI. So once you go to your Visual Studio, there you have to create a folder. For example, here this is my demo which I'm gonna present you today. So this is the demo folder. Inside this demo folder there is one more folder named is MATApp. So inside the MATApp I have to run this command, npm install angular CLI. Once I will install the Angular in that particular folder, the Angular, the whole framework will be installed for that particular folder, and you can move ahead with the Angular development or with the material development. I will explain you what is material after a bit. Once you will install the Angular, then you can proceed with the new application development using this ng new my. Here is one thing you should note down. Ng is the command used for the Angular only. Same way npm used for the Angulars. These are the two commands. So various operation or various terminal things that you want to run, terminal operations can be uh, can be executed using either npm or ng. Wow. There are certain things you can check by which you can for what you need to use npm, for what you need to run ng. Through this guideline you can go ahead and check for that. Okay, so here in my Visual Studio I have already installed the Angular because it takes some time. So already installed the Angular. For the app development I will proceed from now. Today I'm going to introduce you with the material. First I will let me introduce you guys what is material actually. Okay, Here I have opened the Google Calendar. So in the Google Calendar, when I hover on this GMT 5:30, you can see the tooltip is opening. GMT plus 5:30 here, the tooltip in the black color. So there is a particular look and feel for opening the tooltip. Same way, this portion shows the calendar days. So if you can see, the 9 color is blue colored, and this is a particular theme, we can say. For the button, there is a shadow given underneath the button. When I hover, the shadow gets more blurred in certain ways. So this look and feel is created by the Angular. If you will go to any other website, you won't see the same look and feel. But if you will go to Google products, as in, let's say I'll go, this is the Google Calendar. If I go to the drive, in the drive, here I'm opening the calendar again, the same thing, tooltip and all. So the look and feel is always same for the whole Google things. The tooltip, the way tooltip opens in drive, the same way it opens in the Google Calendar. Same way, if I'll click on this drop down, it covers a big area. Then the buttons, you can see the buttons, blue colored button. The checkboxes, when I hover on the checkbox, uh, a circular black background opens, gray color. When I will click, it will get checked, and it gets blue color, and the background also gets blue. So these are the themes of the Angular. So if I will use any other technology except Angular, the same look and feel can be created using CSS and HTML. But to use exactly the same look and feel, we can go with the Angular. So today I'm gonna share one demo application by which we can get the same look and feel of the Google products, as in whether it is in Google My Drive or whether it is in Google Calendar, everywhere. The same look and feel, get the look and feel, and how you can develop a demo or any application using Angular. That I'm gonna explain you. So let's go to the material one more time. So to develop the technology we are going to use is Angular JS. It is this, how we can install and all the guidelines are given here. Now to get the look and feel and the text field, checkbox, radio button, so the elements, these elements can be get from the Angular material. So the difference is Angular is a technology and Angular material is a framework that we are going to use to develop our application. Okay, so we are going to use Angular material to install. Once you are done with the installing of Angular and in your Visual Studio, after that you have to install Angular material as well, your Visual Studio code. So for that, what I have done is I have created a folder named Angular material. Let me create one more folder with the same name. Material 2. Okay, and in the Angular material there is no folder yet. So let me go over here. I'm opening another folder, Angular material 2. Okay, okay. So right now, if you can see, the name is Angular material 2 here. When I will open it, it is empty. There is nothing right now. Just go to terminal. Terminal is also known as command line interface. There is a CLI. So in the terminal, I need to create a new project for in which I am gonna develop the application. So for example, here is the application is already created. This is a dummy application. So let me give you an overview. This is totally developed using the Angular material. So right now you can see in the left hand side there is a panel. This is the panel. We can see say menu list as well. This is the header where the name of the user and the button of logout is there. This is the grid. Same way, what I have done is I have set a picture, give the name, and here is the sidebar. This is called sidebar. Instead of menu right now, there is a trend to use sidebar. In the sidebar, we set up our menu. So here is our menu. So inside the menu or the sidebar, here the very first option is grid list. So here you can see the grid. When I will click on this burger button, my sidebar will get shrink like this, and when I will click again, it will show up. So this is the technique how I have developed. So this is done using the Angular's inbuilt functionality. If I will go and use JavaScript or jQuery, so what I have to do, I have to write certain 100 like 50 to 100 line code to create such functionality that on click of this button this portion gets hide. In Angular, I have to write only one line code, which is a built-in option. Function is given. Once I will click on this button, my sidebar gets shrink. When I will go, just for the explanation purpose, what I have done is I have gave the sidebar menu names same as what we are going to check. So here is the grid list. So here the grid is shown. For stepper, here the stepper is shown, how the form is filled out step by step. That's why it is called stepper. In the tabs, here are the tabs. On clicking on each tab, it goes to that particular tab. So the sidebar name is tab, and here is the example of tab. The table, this is the table, how we execute the table of table in Angular. Then the expansion panel, here is the expansion panel. This is also known as accordion if you guys are using HTML content technologies, Bootstrap and all. So this is a accordion or expansion panel. And here is the form. So in the form, I have taken the basic like checkbox, radio button, and the some text boxes, one more text box, and some fancy like drop down. So this is the demo what we are going to develop today. Here are the basic uh, material components. Using these components in certain way, you guys will be able to develop any application that you want to create. Okay, for that, here let's go to the Angular. In the Angular materials side, here is the steps given how we can start. So go to guide, and then if you go to getting started, here are the steps given how you can install material in your application, and thereafter how you can proceed one by one. So first you have to install the material in your uh, application. So I hope you guys have received this document. This I have already shared. So in that, create a folder. So here I have created folder in Angular material 2 instead of this because material is already there. Now then I have to go to create. I have to create a new project. So to create a new project, what I have to do is I have to open terminal, then run this ng new mat app. This is using this command ng new mat app. I will be able to create a new application for Angular. So here I have to paste the command. On click of enter, it will take a minute or a couple of minutes to execute a new application, but this command will help you to create a new application in your backend. So because in my particular folder Angular is already installed, I just need to give answer of this with ask questions. Once I will answer, it will create the application for me, the platform for the application for me. So here it asks, would you like to add Angular routing? Now let me introduce you guys like what is routing. So whenever you open a website, on clicking on certain links, you guys will be redirected to another page or another uh, websites and all. So that is called routing in terms of Angular. So on click of button or on click of link, you guys will be redirected to some other pages. So that is called routing. So yes, in my application, we have seen in this demo application, when I'm clicking on grid list, it redirect me to the grid. When I click on stepper, it redirected me to the stepper page. So this is called the routing. So yes, if I want to enable routing in my application, so I will click on yes. Once I click on yes, it asks me another question that which style sheet I want to use. Is it the CSS or SCSS, SAS, LESS, or any other custom stack? So for that, I can choose any option according based on my convenience. So today for the demo purpose, I'm going to use the CSS only. So I will click enter only, and the default option is the CSS. Once you will click on this CSS here, once I click on CSS, the command starts installing certain things as in Angular, then the package. These are the default files that we will need for creating a Angular app. Once the installation is done, you guys will be able to see the thing in the this left side panel. You can see it's still installing, but the Met app is created because my name of my application is Met app, so that is created. I will open this once my installation is done. Just give it 1 minute. Meanwhile, it is installing. Let me go to the material side again. Here in the material side, here are the commands like ng add material, angular material. Using this command, we can install the material in our application. The material is having its inbuilt technology. We can say like this. It default uses the Roboto font. As we know that there are various fonts available in market, and basically we use Arial, Courier, and all. But in the Google products, all the common font used are Roboto fonts. So it comes as a default in this material. Then the material design icon in the index. Let me go to that. With this session, I will introduce you guys what is the icon, material icons. Here, remove margins from body. If you guys have already gone through any website development, or if you have knowledge of Bootstrap, then you should know that in when you use body tag in any website, it has a default margin with the body tag. If you use the material, then that default margins will be removed. For Bootstrap columns, the 15 pixel margin from left and right side uh, will be added default. So if you will use material, then that 15 pixel will be removed. Then the 100% height for the HTML and body tag will be set, and the Roboto is the default component. Okay, let me check if my installation is done. It's still running. Let it gets done. Once it is done, I will move forward what are the other steps for the application development. So the document, we can see that these are the questions asked. We have done until the fourth step. Thereafter, we will go to the application development. We will check how it looks. It's taking a bit longer. So let me move with the explanation of the components meanwhile it gets installed. So this is the guide how we can install material. Apart from this Angular material, when we go to the components tab, okay, here are the components are given. Basically, when we open any website, in that particular website, we usually see forms, and the forms have different fields, as in input field for name, first name, last name, then the radio buttons for the gender, then checkboxes if you want to select more than one options, then for address we can see text area is given, and certain things are given. For the birth date, we can see date picker are also there. So those components are given here in the component tab, auto complete, batch, bottom sheet. The basic component that we use are button, then checkbox, then date picker and all, then form fields. Form field is nothing but the input field. Input field, we have to add this input field inside the form field. Then if you are loading more than one records for the table, then we use paginator. Then the list item, the menu. Here in my demo, I have used list. Then we use radio buttons. So those mandatory things, I mean the components that we use usually in the applications, I will try to cover all those components in the demo app, so that can be shown. uh, Okay, here we can see the material package is installed successfully. When we open MATLAB, we can see the required folders, E2E node modules, SRC and all. So whatever required things we need to run an application in Angular is installed by this way. So if I will click on the command ngserve, this is the command to run the application. Okay, command requires Angular project. Okay, seems my Angular is not installed. Let me install quickly. Okay, perfect. So inside my folder, I have installed Angular as well. Let me check in the document if any step is missed. Okay, created new app, installed material. Okay, let me try to run the command for to run the application. Still shows the application error. Just a moment. Deleting this particular folder just to properly install the Angular one more time. Leave it as for as of now. Okay, here it is, the same thing. Terminal. Right now I'm going through these steps given in the document shared by me. Ideally going to do the same as we have done earlier. But earlier we installed material first and thereafter we moved to installing the Angular. But right now I'm installing the Angular first. Okay, let it gets done. As we know that it's gonna take some time. Until then, let me move to the component again. So let me guide you with the basic component that we are going to use. The very first component that will widely used is the button. So this is the look and feel of the button. You can see the basic button, primary button, accent. So this primary, accent and one are the classes. If you assign classes primary, then the background color will be shown as blue. If you assign accent as class, it will be shown in pink, and one it will show as red. So these are the classes. The class name is shown over there, is the button name, and these are the button. The feel of the Angular button is when you click on that button from any corner, it goes like a wave inside the button. You can see the wavy pattern going populated inside the button. Everywhere you can see the same. So this is the look and feel of the uh, button inside the. So here is the various kind of buttons. You can see the basic button. On basic button, when you see there is no border given. Here in the raised button, this is also known as matte raised button. This button having a border with a shadow. Then the stroked button without shadow, only the border is given. Then the flat button, then the icons as a button. Here is the fab button. You have seen this kind of button when you want to uh, perform certain application like add, delete, or update in the table DBMS. So these are the button styles. Then we have checkbox. So here are the checkbox. So as I showed you earlier in the calendar, it should be open at my end. Here we can, as I showed you that here is the checkbox design. When you hover, it shows a black background, and on click it shows a blue colored black background. The same thing here my theme is of pink indigo, so it is showing me the pink color. If I change the theme to uh, a blue colored one, it will, instead of this pink color, it will show the blue color. So these are the types like this blue color. So these are the checkbox. Then the date picker, so the same I have shown you here with the date picker. It shows the date picker. On click of the icon, it open up the calendar, and inside the calendar I can select the date. Okay, so this is the date picker. So the widely used one of the component is date picker, because we use date inside the forms for the birth date or any date, start date, end date of the project and all. So for that we use. So another other component that is widely used is date picker. Any component that you guys are using, whether it is button or date picker, on the Angular material side, the not only the front end is given, but how this is enabled in your application is also given. The code is given. So here is the API. We just need to import this button API in our project. I will explain you how we can install this, add this. So once you add this line in your module here in the app.module ts, let it gets done. I will explain, show you as well. Once you install that, you just need to import this, and you guys will be able to use any button style you want to. Let's say for the basic button, go to this view code button. Then you go to that when you click on this icon, this is the button HTML code. To uh, to get this simple button, just type button, then matte button, because we are going to use the material button. So matte button, then the name of the button that you want to show on the button, so that is basic, and just close the tag. If you want to colored button, as we seen this primary colored button, so for that the code is this. uh, Here it is called raised button. So for that, go to the raised one, that is called matte raised button. So inside the button tag, write the attribute name as matte raised button, then give color as primary. If you want to show the black background, then color should be primary. If you want to show the pink background, then the color is accent. If you want to show the red, then one. So this is the HTML code, how we can create buttons by that way. Okay, so this is the button. So this is the HTML code that is given on the Angular side. So there is no need to write the whole code, or in case you guys forgot think that how the code is written, in that way you can just go to this website, just copy this line, paste inside the HTML, save and run, and your button is there, your component will be shown over there. Okay, okay, so here it is done. So let me go through the document only. So once it is done, I have answered these questions. Go to that folder and start the application. I hope it won't show the error again. Okay. This is the cd means change directory. So I came inside the folder of my application name MATApp, and then there is the command to start the application in this serve. So when I will write this and hit enter, this question will be asked only first time whether you want to share your data with the Google or not. So I'm gonna simply type no. The system will compile, Visual Studio will compile my project. Here is my project. So after installing all this thing, this default thing will be installed in my project. The JSON files, the package file, the Angular file, and the E2N node modules. These two, we are not going to use anything from these two modules. We are going to use only source. Inside the source, the application app, then the asset. I will explain you one by one all these things, so you guys can have an idea of why this TS file, CSS file is here. Until this gets run, inside the source app, we have TS file. TS is used for coding the backend, like how you want to write your logic. So the logic will be written inside the TS file. Then the components CSS file. If you don't want to apply the global CSS style, instead of that you can write your CSS inside this app component CSS file. Here is the HTML file. Inside the HTML you can write your HTML code, and here is the app TS file. So this is the app routing module, this is the app component. So inside the app component you can write your logic, but what we prefer is, instead of writing your logic in this app component TS, it's better to create a other component, a specific component, and write your logic in that particular component. These are the files, are the global files generated while installing the project. So it's preferred not to use this app component CSS, app component HTML, and app component TS. These four files, and this spec TS as well. These four files are such files that we refers like not recommended to use. Instead of that, create a component and type everything inside your component and call your component from this file. We are going to do the same as well, so I will explain you that also. So here my code is compiled. Once it is compiled, the code will be I will be able to open the code, how it shows on this localhost 4200. So just right click on it, click control, and on click it will be opened in one of my browsers. So here Edge is set as default browser. So the moment I clicked on this, it opens inside my browser in my Edge. So you can see my application is open. Here my application name is Mat App, so it has taken the default name. Guys, carefully see uh, the look of the website. Okay, this is how Angular site is look. Here I haven't installed material yet inside my project, this project. So once I will install material, my look and feel for this page is gonna change. So to install material, I'm going to the document again. Let me install. Okay, here install material. So to install material, I just need to stop, click Control C to stop the execution, and file. Okay, so Control C, it will stop the execution of compilation of the system. After stopping, I will run this command, ng add angular material. So by this command I can install material inside my Angular. Until now, starting from the new Mat app to here ngServe, what we have done, we have just installed Angular inside our folder for our system, the demo application. We haven't yet installed material. So now we are going to install material. So just copy this command, paste over here, and hit enter. It will start installing the material for my particular project. Okay, the same things again, like what color I want to ask. So I will go with the indigo pink material. Okay, so these questions, earlier the questions asked was for my Angular, how I want to see my Angular project. Now the questions asked are for my material, like my which colored component I want to see. So as I have used indigo pink, so my uh, this one, There's the checkbox not here. As I see the color of this pink and the indigo color and the pink color. So this kind of theme, this colored theme will be installed for my Angular application if I will select the indigo pink. Then set up a global Angular module typography. Okay. Set up browser animation. Okay. These are the options. We need the animation because uh, let me show you why. Okay, here when I click on this drop down, my like this. Okay, so when I clicked on this drop down, the drop down that gets opened, it opens such a way from top to bottom. Okay, it's not just showed up, it has a specific transition like from top to bottom, and when I click outside it gets blurred out. So this is the theme. If I won't install the animation, it won't look such way, it will just show up and close. So to get such animation, I have to install the animation inside my package. So here my Angular material installation is done. As you can see now, let me check all the steps one more time. Okay, custom install project. Okay, so once my application is done, again run the same command ng-serve to start the application. Let me open the screen here. Okay, so this is the output when I initially run my application, the default application. Guys, this is not anything that I have code. This is the default option comes up when you install the Angular. So don't think that I have already coded this page. This is the default page. When you install any Angular project, this appears. So you just carefully see the fonts, image, and the font style, font size, and all. Once I will start running this project after installing the material, the look and feel for this page will get changed. Okay, so let me run this. For very first time it takes a bit moment. Okay, so it is compiled successfully. Now I'm back to the old. I'll just reload this. Okay, so if you guys have seen carefully, my font style and font size is changed now. Earlier it wasn't the Roboto fonts. Now the fonts used for this after installing the material, my font style is Roboto. Earlier when I was hovering this component, this smooth transition wasn't there. Now when I'm hovering this component, I'm getting a smooth transition at hover, get this blurry shadowed effect as well. So these are the look and feel of the material. Yes, we can build an application using but without using material, it will look a bit different. But this is the way how a smooth application you can develop, the smooth look and feel you can get using the material. So we are going to have a look how this such application can be developed. So because of the time limit, if I want, I can code and show you the demo application. But because this my application is a bit big and I have to introduce I would like to introduce you with the basic all the basics of the material components. I'm not gonna code right now. If I'll start coding, then it will take time. So instead of coding, I would like to introduce you with the existing site that I have created. But the for the mandatory thing, I will code and show you guys as well. So here, once you install the Angular, so until now we have learned how to install Angular, how to install material, and once you are done with the installing, where you have to make changes and how you have to compile the project and how it will be shown up. So this is until now. So once you are done with this, as we have seen that this is the default page comes up with the Angular. So let's say I don't want these components and all. So what I will do, just go to this app component.html. So here is the, this is the CSS and HTML code of this page, this these buttons and these labels and all. So if I will remove it, the things will be gone because this is the default things come up, this is useless. I will keep the router outlet only. Why? Because this router outlet is the responsible selector for my application's front end to run. Okay, I'm repeating, this router outlet is responsible for my front end to show up whatever I'm gonna create. So except this router outlet, I'll delete everything. So here after removing the router, let's say I'll type demo. Okay, just control S. Once you will control, it will quickly run. Here the demo is here. Okay, so this is how we can start coding for our uh, demo application now onwards. So next is components. So let me create few components for you guys. For the demo application, we can see I have a sidebar, then I have a header, then I have the different components created. So for creating the sidebar, I should have a sidebar component. Then for the header, I should have a header component. For the rest of the grid and stepper tabs table, I should have a components respectively. So first let's proceed with the sidebar only. So for creating sidebar, here I need to keep my project running. So what I will do here, I will create open another node terminal PowerShell. Okay. So for creating a new uh, okay. First thing, let's go to the okay. So here from the material side, we have seen the button, checkbox, and all. Now what I want to do is I will be needed a sidebar, which is also known as sidebar, as per my demo application. Here is my sidebar, this whole black colored one. Here is my header. So this is another component. So for creating a sidebar, what I have to do here is this side navigation bar. So I just simply need this sidebar like this way. So if I don't want to create and I just need to copy it, so I can copy it from here as well. Another option is I will create a component first. Of course I need a separate component for this sidebar. So let me open the existing project that I have created. Open folder. Okay, so this is the folder that I have already created. Sorry, this is the project that I have already created for the demo purpose. This is the demo one. So here what I need is I need a sidebar. So my sidebar is here. Okay, inside this sidebar, the whole sidebar's code is written inside the sidebar. So let's say initial level, if you want to create the component of sidebar, because you can see this green color things, expansion panel, from, grid list, header, material, sidebar, stepper, tables, and tabs. This is not created when I installed my Angular project. Only starting from this app routing to rest of the things were given. So these are the components that I have manually created to create my application. Okay, so as I said earlier, to create application, instead of writing the whole HTML code inside this app component HTML, and instead of writing whole CSS inside this app component.css, it's better if you guys can write your code in your particular components. To create a component, the command is ng GC, means ng means Angular, G is generate, and C is for component. Thereafter, I have already created sidebar, but if I want to show you that how a sidebar created, so just type NGGC, then sidebar 2. Okay, so this is my sidebar 2 component. I already have sidebar, so this is sidebar 2 I am creating just to show you guys. So when I will click on hit enter, no, it won't run because I'm still not in the folder. Okay, cd netf. Okay, okay, and I run the same again using cd netf. I am coming inside the netf folder. Okay, now the moment this is clicked, it took a bit time, and after that it has created these 4 files: sidebar 2 component HTML file, tech.ts file, ts file, and css file. What we need is we need HTML and ts widely. CSS also we also need if you want to design your component. We don't need this spec.ts file because this spec.ts file is the replica of the ts file. So if you want to delete, you can delete, but because it is generated by system, let's keep it as it is. So here, the moment I finished, the system finished creating the component. Here my sidebar 2 is generated. Inside this sidebar 2, these 4 files are default generated. These 4 files are these 4 files, the same files. Okay, so let me open each file. First is sidebar 2 component.css, empty css file is generated. Then HTML file, sidebar 2 works, there is a default line. Then the ts file. Okay, inside let me introduce you what is a ts file in Angular. The ts file is where we write our logic. So if I have inserted a button in my HTML file, that on click of that particular button, what function should be called, what effect should be given, what transition or any operation that you want to perform, that on click event function will be written inside the ts file. So if let me show you a demo for this. Ngserve. Let this get started. Okay, it started now and it's already running, so I'm just refreshing it inside the grid list. In the header file, there is a logout button. So let me show you some operation on the logout only. So this is in the okay, here in my app component. Here is my logout. This rest of the code I'm gonna explain. Just give me a moment. When you type and make any button by this way, button, met button, then logout, because I have write logout, you are able to see the logout over the button. If I want to perform any operation, then what I have to do, just write method like click, like this is the on click event. In jQuery, the method is known as on click. In Angular, the method known as click only. So on click, let's say I want to show some text. Okay, so what I'm creating is I'm creating a method named as show text, and this is the way how we can create a method, the empty traces. So once I write this, you can see it shows a red underline, means there is some error. So to until I won't define this function, it will keep showing this error line. Once I will go the ts file, is the ts file, this is the component. In I just define my empty function, the red line will go up. Okay, so now I have created a method, but I haven't shown up anything. So what I have to do is, let me do a simple operation. I this title met title equal to matab. You can see here type is matab. It is not shown over here. No problem. Here I am welcome guest. Here it is welcome guest. Okay, so on click of this show logout buttons click event, let's change this welcome guest to welcome user. Okay, so I'm removing the guest and I'm text name variable. This is called interpolation. This two open braces and two close curly braces. This is called interpolation. Inside the interpolation, you can write the variable. So I have write a variable named text. Here I am defining the variable text. Initially, it is guest. Okay. Now on click of this method, this dot text equal to user. Okay. So initially it is text. Text is given a value as user. Okay, guessed earlier. But when I click on log out button, it will change the to okay guest. I'm clicking on logout, it changed to user. Okay. So what I did is I just set a click event on the button click event. On that click event, I have write a method. On this method, I have simply updated a variable's value. Initially, it was guest, and thereafter it is user. Let me reload. Okay, here is guest. On click, it will update the name. So I have just performed a simple text update operation on click event. So this is a demo. I don't need such things inside this. So I'm just removing this old stuff. Okay. And so this is the how you can set a click event for any button. So once you uh, set up your where we were, okay, here in the sidebar too. Okay, so we were inside the sidebar tools a css file. So this is what I wanted to convey is whatever you want to write as a logic, you have to write it inside the ts file. The same we wrote the function inside the ts file, but the moments when you want to call the function, when you want to execute such functions and the logic you want to implement, that you have that event you have to write inside the html. Okay, here in the html. But also for that you mostly need certain events like mouse over, mouse out, or some updates of the drop down value change, so that mouse click, so that you will get over here. So when you go inside, if you go like this is the facility for the Angular given by the Visual Studio. These are the method shown up, like click method, then double click method, directory change. Then there are so many like key down, key press, key up. These are for the keyboard events. Then here mouse down, mouse enter. Like when I enter inside, when you can see that when I hovered this button, it showed up near tooltip. This one. This is the mouse over, mouse enter and all. So these are the default events. So when this ts file function will be executed, when you will perform certain events in your html code. Okay, as I shown in your demo, I clicked on this button and it changed the text. Same way, if I will perform any operation or any if I fire any event in the html, it will perform the function from the ts file. So these are the uses of html and ts file and how they are interlinked. Okay, so I remove this. Done. So this is I showed you how we can create a component using the nggc command. Now I will explain you how you can create a module. Now we need a module file. I'll show you how. Why. You can see the app module ts file over here. Okay, so this is the app module file. Just don't look for this much portion. This is not of use. Initially, when the app module.ts file is loaded while installing the project, the default uh, installation done is this much: browser module, ng module, routing module, and app component. These four will be default loaded when you install the Angular project inside the app module.ts file. App module means your applications module file. In the whole module, these four files will be loaded. This has certain operations loaded through these libraries, so no need for explicitly include this. After that, we have installed Angular in our project. So we have only installed Angular in our project. We haven't used any component. So as I said earlier, if I want to use this side nav in my in my demo, here is the sidebar I have used, and for that I have to use this side nav component. So how this side nav can be included in my project? So go to API and select this side nav line. This is for the importing. Just copy it and go to this app module and paste it. Hopefully this is already there or not installed. Okay, fine. Okay, because I have used the sidebar component. The sidebar is added. Fine. So for that, if I want to use the side nav in my application, then I have to use the side navs. I have to import the side nav facilities from the library. And once you include this, you have to declare your you have to declare your component as well. So here we can see that I have included my side nav over here and then included over here. So whatever I want to include inside my application, I have to first include it inside the app module.ts. Now here two things come in picture. One, whether I want to select the explicit component. Second, I have used the default library things. Here, this side nav is comes from the material, while the rest of the components, starting from the grid list to the sidebar, these are the components name which I have created here. This is created by me only. So this is written here in the app module.ts. The reason to call import this in the app module.ts, if you just create a component and you won't include it inside the app module.ts, that component will be of no use. You cannot use it inside the application. So the steps for using a particular component is you create the component, include it inside the app module.ts, define it in the declaration only. In the declaration only. No need to import. Import is something else that I will explain to you. Now let's come to this point of the materials component. So these are the component created by me. This is not created by the material. So what we can do for material is what I have done is I have created another module file named as material. Okay, first let me remove this from here. Okay. For creating a module file only, the command is ngGM, then the module name. So let's say my module name is material 2. So here it is ngGM. Earlier, to create the component, my command was ngg, then C for component. Now my command for creating a module file is ngGM for creating a module. So here is the module name. So once I will hit enter, system will generate a module file only. While creating a component file generates four files: ts, a CSS file, HTML file, TES file, and spec.ts file. If I will create a module file, then it will generate a module.ts file only. This is the extension. The module.ts file that I have explicitly created, I have to include it inside the app module.ts file. So ideally, if you can see, then the conclusion of the whole thing is whatever you will generate using the commands, whether it is a component or a module file, everything you have to import in your app.module.ts file. Until and unless you won't include anything inside the module.ts file, you will not be able to use that in your application. Okay, so this is the way. Okay, let me first create a dummy module. Guys, have your eyes over here. Here material 2 will be created. Okay, you can see the material 2 folder is created, and inside the material 2 module.ts file is generated. Okay, when the file is generated by system, these are the two default things will be added: ng module and common module. And this ng module declares the file ts file and the components common module inside that. And this is the class exported default. Means my name is material2, then my class name will be generated as material2 module. If I will create a component, then my class name will be component name, then component, the last term, this my last term will be component. Because I have created a module file, my last term is module. So once I create my module file, thereafter I have to include that module file inside my app module.ts file. Okay, though this is a module.ts file, I have to import it in my default module.ts file. So what I will do, comma, in the imports, I just write it down here. It's not able to find the material. Okay, cannot find material to module. Either I can type by this way, or it should show up me the quick fixes instead of this. Just a moment. Okay, if anyhow the system is not showing up the default option, like here instead of this it should have a quick fix, you just write your name. Okay, material module material. Okay, so because it wasn't showing me the options to right away import, I manually typed. I typed dot slash from app module to go in the app folder, come outside of the app module, then go into the material2 folder, and then go to the material module.ts, means this file. Okay, so as soon as I registered this material2 module, I imported it inside the app module. The error showing earlier has been removed by the system. Means whatever you are doing is correct. uh, so just save that. Once you will save my another. Okay, it's still having the error. This declaration. Okay, just a moment. Okay, I just need to import it. I don't need to declare it. Okay, what I have to declare is I have to declare the components, not the module.ts files. That's why I have to import the material2, then material file. Here I have material module already created, material2.module.ts is already created. So I have to import these two files because these are the module.ts files. If it is a component file like my sidebar 2, then I have to declare that. So here is the difference. If it is a component file, then you have to declare it. So you have to write it inside the declarations array. But because what I have created is a module file, I have to write it inside the import. Now another thing, I was showing up, I was explaining this because whatever components that I have created been manually imported by me in the app module.ts file. But because I have to import a number of material classes for my application, what I have to do is, here you can see, for my current demo application, I have included this many materials inbuilt classes. The first one is for button, that's why it is called mat button. Second one is the side navigation bar, so it is then another is toolbar, then list, then grid, then card. So this is just used for my application, the current application. If I want to go out of this and I want to use all of this, given like I haven't used any progress spinner, any ripple, any select, or the slider and all. So if I want to use those functionality of material as well, then I have to one by one add everything over here inside the material modules. So because I have to, this list will go too long. What we have done, instead of writing it inside the app module.ts, we have created another file named as material module. We have added those material component names inside this material module.ts file, and then this material file is imported in our app module.ts file. By this way, we are not increasing the loading time. What it will be done, when the system will start and the application will be run, only respective components will be executed. Let's say I have imported the material file, so while executing the button, it will come to this file and it will execute the, it will look for the button, and yes, it is imported, so let's show my button. So if my card page is not shown, then my card is not imported until that time. Okay, so by writing this way, I mean declaring the file separately and importing it inside the app module.ts file, what I am doing is using the compile time for my system. I'm reducing my loading time. Sorry, it's not compiling, it's the loading time. Okay, so I hope until now how we create the module and how we create the component is clear. So once you have created a component, we have to show certain HTML components inside our application. So as in my demo, let's start with the sidebar and this header bar. So first I will explain the sidebar. So for sidebar, as I said that I have used this side navigation, this one. So what I have done is I have simply copied this portion from my side navigation, and this copied portion I have pasted in my side nav. Here in this sidebar, go to this side nav. Here it is. Met. Just a moment. No, it is not here. Not in the sidebar. I have created it inside the app.component.html here. This much portion. Okay, I will explain one by one how it works. So you can see met drawer container and all. Through this you can uh, this one, met site dev container. So this how you can create your sidebar. So just go to the Angular material site, click on the side name, come to this portion. First thing that you have to do is get the API. From the API, copy this whole line, paste it inside the module.ts file and import it. And after that, you will be able to use the component. So to use the component, no need to write, just go to that particular components example. Then in the example, copy the example and then write it down inside here. So okay, side nav. So what we I have done is I have get the side nav container. This side nav container is the material stack. uh, I believe you guys already having the basic htmls, fundamental ideas and concepts are clear. So in HTML, what we usually do is we usually write like this: HTML, then body, and likewise. So inside the HTML, we need one opening tag and closing tag, and these are the default tags of the HTML, like body, then head and title. Inside body also we have some a tag and some e tag. Okay, so this is our structure of the HTML file, that we must have a opening and closing of HTML, then head tag, then body tag. Inside the head tag we have the title, and inside the body we write whatever we want. The same way this HTML this Angular HTML work, but for we are using material, the tags are different. Met side nav container. Then for inside the met side nav, if I want to show up the title, then what I have is met side nav, which show up this uh, title bar. Then I have the content portion. Then I have met side nav content portion. Likewise. So what you have to do in this case, course you guys are thinking right now that if I want to go to Angular, then I have to remember everything, like how this tag is written, the I mean whether it is met side nav or whether it is met side nav container, when to use met side nav only, when to use met side nav content. So no need to worry about that, guys. You just need to go on this uh, compose this website of the material, and from that you can copy paste. Once initially you just start copying it and getting understanding like how this particular tag works, thereafter you will get idea what is the use of that particular tag, and you will get idea of the each attributes. Like in the met side new container, we have class as an attribute. In the side new we have the mode as an attribute. So these are the things. You don't need to remember every tag how it is written. You can get idea from this website only, and by this way you can just get the components code, the HTML code, and just paste it inside the HTML file. For the logic, definitely you have to write the logic inside the PS file. So if you are going to the front end developer, if you want to become a front end developer, then you can go by this way. For the backend developer, we use the TS5 for writing the backend code. I hope until now I am clear. So once I have pasted this met site name container, what I have in my demo application, what I have used is, let me remove this portion. Okay, inside my side name container, what I have done is, first I have given it a class as an example container. Why I have given the class as example container? Because I wanted to give it a certain CSS, and I don't wanted to use the default CSS. So let's say if I won't write this CSS and run this, look, it looks something like this. The color in the background gets changed where my arrow is hovering currently I am. So if, okay, so using this CSS here, can you see the color gets changed for a bit darker, because I want to give such front view effects. So I have used this example container CSS and then write the background and the positions for that particular, because this is my side name and I want it to be fixed every time. I have defined it in the side new container. Thereafter, what I want to do is I have to keep my sidebar. This sidebar right now, what I'm explaining is my sidebar. I want my sidebar to be open every moment. So that's why I have keep this keyword opened over here. If instead of if opened is removed, then my sidebar will not be open. I have to manually open my sidebar by clicking the button. I am coming how this button working. Okay, so initially to keep my sidebar open, I have placed this keyword open. Now mode is side. Instead of this side, there are other modes also available. because it is side, my sidebar placed in the left hand side. If I will write any other mode like above or bottom or something like that, in that case my sidebar will be placed accordingly, or either on the header portion or in the bottommost portion. So right now it is sidebar. Now I want to open or close this sidebar on click of this button. So that's why what I have done is, here is my mat side nav. This is this black colored portion. Now next is my content portion. Content means this my rest of the HTML portion. So what I have done in the that rest of the content portion, first I have defined a toolbar. Now this is again the same a new component made toolbar. So how that works is, let's go over here in the HTML material side. Here is the toolbar. So how toolbar works? So you can see what in my demo site is a button, a rectangle, and here two lines are there, welcome guest and the logout button. Something looks similar over here, a button, a name, and here is two icons, something like this. So what I have done is I have taken this toolbar from the material side. Same thing, go to API, then get this line, paste it in the material module file, and after that go to the component. What I want is toolbar only, so here is my toolbar. So just copy this toolbar code or copy this toolbar code, made toolbar. I have taken this one and modified it. I'll show you how. I've taken this made toolbar, then because I want this button, this burger button, so I have placed the burger button. This is the button. Now there is the eye. Eye is called icon. So I would like to introduce you with the icon as well. As I said earlier that we will go to the icon in during when we will go through the session. So here is the icon. So these are the material icons. So whatever icon you want to include in your system, you can use this material icon. So either you can type mat icon, or you can simply go with this I class. I means icon, then give the classes materials icon. If instead of menu I want to show up this home as my icon, so just update it as this home. Okay, so I saved it, run it, and my button, the operation won't change, just the button's theme will change. Here my button icon, earlier it was a burger, right now it's a home because I have write it as home. Instead of home, if I want to any other like send, so it will show like this send icon. Okay, so this way I can change the icons. So right now the icon name is menu, it is showing the three lines, and of course you have to take care which icon you are using, because icons are certain by right, and what kind of operation can it perform. Right now in script or in any website, we know that the three lines are usually used for a menu to show and close, and this is called a burger icon. So that's why I have used this menu. And on this menu button, if I don't want to show the icon, I can just simply write a text like this. Okay, so there is button, then because it's an icon button, I have used this make icon button. Then on click of this, I have to show my sidebar and hide my sidebar. That's why I have added the click event as explained earlier. Then my side name. Now what is side name? Is the ID given to my sidebar. Here is the ID. I believe you guys are already aware that in HTML, hashtag in defines the ID and dot defines the class. So because I want to get the ID of the sidebar, I have given the ID name as side name, and you given it a hashtag, means an ID, created an ID. Now what I have to do, I have to toggle, means to show and disappear the side name. So I have write the same ID side name, so the side name dot toggle. As I said earlier, if I want to create the same thing in either in jQuery or in JavaScript, what I have to do, I have to write a somewhere 50 to 100 line code to get the ID. That dot toggle function is either there, it's fine. If not, dot the side name dot width equal to 0 or something like that, using or by playing with the css as well. But in Angular, simply the toggle function is given, which will change the uh, appearance of the sidebar, like to show and disappear. So like using this simple one line, we have get this wonderful thing as to show and disappear the sidebar. Okay, so I hope until now we are clear. So what I am doing is I am controlling this sidebar using a button in the toolbar. So until now we have seen three components. One is the button, second is the toolbar, and third is the side navigation. Now in this header bar, I have this button. Except this button, I have this text as well as the logout button. Logout button to log out from the system, but as I said, I am going to explain you the front end portion only, not the back end thing. For back end, we will definitely have another session in which I will guide you with the back end, how we can handle the same application from backend, how we can give operations to different button clicks and events. For that, we have to learn the backend as well. So for that, we can definitely arrange another session. Right now, only the front end part, how we can show up the application using the material. So right now we can see a text is here and a button is here. So what for that, what we have done is we have set a span where a class is given a user text. User text is given because I want this welcome text font a bit bigger than the usual, and the text welcome guest, and the last one is the logout button. So button, and that attribute given is mat button. Let me show you guys. If I remove this mat button, look, this button is no longer using a materials inbuilt functionalities and look and feel. It is using the HTML button code right now. So earlier, we can say until some 15 to 20 years ago, we usually use such kind of buttons, like having a look and feel like this. So right now, to give a fun, look and feel of Angular, what I have to do is I have to write either mat button or mat icon button if I want to use a icon button, or a mat raised button if I want to give a bordered like this mat raised button. Okay, so it will show you like a bordered and a shadowed button. Okay, so I want this non-bordered button, so I have write the mat button. So by this way I am using the sidebar and the header. Now the very important thing is whenever I'm clicking on any component of my sidebar, my this panel content gets changed. So for that, what I have used is I have moved the router outlet, which was initially outside of this portion, to the side navigation content. Means in my side navigation content tag, I have moved this router outlet. So what will happen, whatever rest of the page I'm gonna click, anything from here will be show up inside the content portion of the sidebar. So as we have seen that sidebar has two portions. One is the side navigation bar and second one is the content bar. So this is my navigation bar which I have fixed at the left hand side, and this rest of the portion which is having the content portion, that content portion I am going to show the uh, different component created. Okay, so that's the reason the router outlet is written here. So this is how my app component is written, decoded. This is the fixed portion. Anyhow my header is not gonna change, my sidebar is not gonna change. Only things which will be going to change is the content portion, so that will be captured using the router outlet. Now if I will click on the grid list, it shows me the grid list. Here in the Angular, whatever component I have created, that component has a particular URL. As I earlier said, the routing. Uh, if I click on grid list, it shows the grid list. If I click on stepper, it shows me the stepper. If you can see, my URL is getting changed. When I clicked on stepper, it shows stepper. When I click on tabs, it shows tabs. So based on my routing, the content is shown. that routing URL you can write in the app routing module. So go into the app routing module. uh, in the app routing module, the same as app module, in the app module we have added all our components. We have imported all our components. So for expansion panel, I have included my expansion panel. Here it is. For grid list, I have added my grid list. So the same way you can copy paste as well, or you can import. You have to import all the components in the routing module, and in the routing module you have to give them the URLs. So URL you can give by this way. This array is always created. Mm, this array. So when you install Angular, this array will be, or by default you will be seen. Inside this array, you have to write your code like this way. Like what the path is grid list. So when I type grid list, it will show me the grid list, and the component, the data that on this path I have to show is taken from the component grid list. So give the component name in the component attribute, and give the the path name, whatever you want to. If I want to show the grid list component on ABCD, then I will type ABCD. Look, right now nothing over here. Okay, so instead of grid list, it's now ABCD. So this is the way how you can give the path name, the routing name. Okay, and define which components data to be seen to that particular path. So I have again set it to grid list. Okay, perfect. In the grid list. Now, the same way grid list, then stepper component, tab component, expansion panel, expansion table. I have defined everything. Now, to when I load the this site, what should be my default page? So for default path, I have set like this path. When nothing is given, then redirect it to grid list. Means you have to define any one of this path to redirect to as a default path. For that way, when it's null, okay, so when I remove this grid list, made empty, and just a null, it's then also it is redirecting me to the grid list only, because my null path is set to grid list, and path matches full means this is the attribute, like this should be full as the grid list. Okay, so my grid list, so in this case it will redirect to my grid list page as always. So this is how routing works in Angular. Now let's go to each one by one, each how the uh, these components are created. So first one is grid list. So close all let's go to the grid list HTML. Inside the CSS there is nothing written because we are not performing any backend operation. So in the HTML, what I have taken grid list, same thing. Earlier I have taken the side nav from the material Angular. Now I'm going to create a grid list. So go to grid list. Here is a grid, how a grid list shows in the Angular. So just go to this, I click on this icon, copy the grid list. Okay, so let me comment the existing code. Okay, so the moment I copied the code from material, here the met grid list and met grid tile means how many tiles you want to see. So I want to show total 2 columns, and the height should be 2 as to 1 means 2 in one row there should be 2, and there should be 2 columns. That's why total 4 grid list will be appeared as this 1 2 3 4. You can see the name as well. So there are total 4 grids. These are the attribute, like how you want to set. If I want to set only one column at one time, then I will change it to 1, and right now only 1 is here. Next is 2, then 3, then 4. Let me I have the- okay, inside my grid list, what is right now, we have set total 4 grid lists. Now if my grid list is like this, then I don't want to show empty grid list, I want to show some other content as well, like the card. So what I have done is I went to the card of the material, and here is the card. So just copy this mat card thing, or there is other example as well. Here is the card example. Okay, so card is nothing but to place something inside the grid list. So the card has default things like the card's title, card's subtitle, what image you want to show, some paragraph, and some button. So this is the how a card looks like in material. So what I did is I use this mat card inside the grid. So let me enable that portion and run comment. Okay, so in the met card, in each of the grid tile, earlier it was 1 2 3 4, but that 1 2 3 4 I replaced with this met card. And in that met card, there are 4 things, like one is the header, and other is the content, and third one is the action. So in header I set the title and subtitle. In the content I just write met card content, and in the action I have placed one button. So what will happen, here is my grade. So because I have 4 grades, here's the 1 2 3 and 4. So for 4 grade, here are the 4 grades, and each grade had the same code copied, the header, the content, and the action button. So the header, the content, and the action button. So this is just a I think what you can show as a grid way in material. In all the grade, you can show whatever you want. Let's say if you in the first grade you want to show an image, in second you want to write something, in second if you want header, in third you want to write something, and in fourth you want some button. Then you can set it in such a way. Like let me do the same. Like in the header, I am keeping this header title and removing the title and rest of the content. Okay, now in the second I am removing the title and keeping the subtitle, removing the button. So what will happen, look, here is the title, here is the subtitle. So using the grid you can show up whatever content you want by your way. I mean, you can design your site page such a way. So this is how grid works. I'm moving a bit faster because I have only somewhere 20 minutes remaining. So it is the grid list. Next is this stepper. Stepper means step by step I have to fill out one form. I believe you guys have seen such functionality in some forms. So when I look here, the text field is used. When I click, the placeholder goes up and I can write something. I have not coded anything. This is the default input field given by the Angular. So when I type something and click on next, it show me, it gives leads to the second step, like your address. So here also the address. Next, I'm done. Okay, now reset. So if I manually go on the second and third, it won't allow me to jump off there. So by that I have used this stepper. Let's go to the stepper. In this stepper, my I have set certain label position. So here my labels are positioned underneath the numbers. Now linear, like because this is my linear. Okay, the linear one means I have to go one by one. Now I have used the mat horizontal stepper because this is my horizontal way. If I will change the horizontal to vertical, my stepper will be placed as a vertical way. Okay, so just like right, it will come first. So this is the ways how you can uh, design your stepper. Now inside my stepper I have used, there are because I want to generate the stepper in 3 ways, there are total 3 met steps. Now same thing, the stepper I can get from here only, stepper material module. So get the code, here is the code, update the code according to your needs, and you will be able to create this thing. uh, for this stepper, because I have used the input field, I need input field And for input field I need form fields. If I will write input field, it won't work. Always remember, using such input field I must have a form field, because form field wraps the input field content. And for the Angular's functionality and look and feel, I must have to use met form field. So whenever I have a form, I have to use the met form field, and thereafter I have to place the form field component. Now for the form, if you guys are aware about the HTML form, we cannot directly use a form. We have to define the form. So in Angular also, or in Material, there is a long way to use. How there are some steps. So go to TS file. Because my form's name is first form group. Thereafter, I am going redirected to the second tab where the second form group is defined. So my form group is named as first form group. So define your form group, then define the second form group. This form group and this form builder are the libraries, that the classes we are using to create a form group. So this is a method. If I will take a session on form group, then it is approximately somewhere hour session, more than an hour session. So in shortly, if I'll say that to create a form in Angular or in Material, we have to use the form group library. Then to define the button, the input field, the text area, the except the button, the checkbox and radio button, we have to use the form builder. By using the form builder, we can collect the one form's component, whether it is an input field, whether it is a radio button, checkbox, everything will be combined to the form builder only. And by that way, we can create the form. So first, we have to use the initialize the form group. Then we have to register the form controls to that form group, and we have to write the code inside the on init, because in the on init is the default function that is executed while initializing the page, this screen. So while this component is initialized, this stepper is initialized, the very first method is gonna execute is on init. Is the see the function is executed while in Angular, the on init will be executed and the form group is executed because it is written inside the on init. So first I have written first form group, then the second form group. Let's go to the HTML again. So first my first form group will be executed where fill out the form, a simple template is given. Template one label is given. Instead of the ng template, you can use the label as well. So here is the name for fill out the first form. Then the input field is given. Do remember, in the input field I have to use form control name. If the form control name is not given, then the input field will be registered and the system will give you an error. So here my first control, here is my second control. First for the name, second one is the address. So when I click on the write something, then only I will be able to move. To make the require the input field, just add the required as an attribute in the input field, and the input field will be marked as required. Okay, here it is, this star. So until unless you won't fill out this input field, you won't be able to move to the next one. So this is how this step works, and inside the stepper how the form works. Now at the on the click on the back and next, there are two operations are set. First one is the back will lead you to the previous stepper, and reset will reset the whole form. So for that, to removing the whole data from the form, just dot reset method is used. So when I write anything, click on next, here is the reset button. The moment I will click on reset, everything will be null, this two, and the form will be reset again. Fine. So this is the stepper. Next is the tab is bit easy, like you click on the first, it moves to the first tab. Second, it moves to the second tab. Third is to move to the third tab. Tab is very useful when you want to show so many data and information in one screen only. So let's go to the tabs, and inside the tab here, from material, go to the tab. Here is the tab. You just copy this mat tab group. In the mat tab group, we have the number of tabs you want, you can define. So here we have used the 3 tabs, first, second, third, it labeled as first, second, third. So I have used the same one because I want to, you can see this is in center align. So add the attribute mat align tabs as center, and I want this color as blue. I have set primary. If I will change it to pay accent, it will change its color to pink. And if I want to change it to red one, okay, so this is the default colors, primary and all, primary, accent, and bond. These are the default colors. So you can choose any color. Simply type this, and your tabs are ready. For the content, I have simply written content. Instead of content, you can use any other component as well. The way I have used card in the grid, you can use that component. You can design your tab according to your needs. Now the table, a table in Angular, it you can say easy. Method to use table is bit different. So if you go to table, this is the table. So simply what you have to copy is you have to copy the content. But to understand the table in Angular, basically, when we write HTML table, what we use is PRTB. So inside the table tag, we normally has the TH for the header, then TD for the data, and we use the TR for the row. In Angular, it's a bit different. In Angular, we define the table, then we pass the data source as an array. I mean, the which data we want to show. So let's go close others. Let's go to the TS file of the table. In the table, what I have passed is the data source as data source name. So let's go to the data source. In my data source, I have assigned an array named as element data. So here the element data, which is an array of type periodic element. Just forget about this as of now. Uh, you have to, instead of periodic element, if I type number, then I have to type an array of numbers. If I type string, I have to pass an array of string. But because I pass different things, like I have to pass number, string, float value as everything in one. So what I will do, I will define an interface which is a collection of different data type attributes. So in that way, I can pass a name, which is a string. I can pass a position, which is a number. Uh, Likewise, so to pass different things in one, and of course, in table to show up many things at once. So here I have passed name, position, weight, symbol in by an interface. So the array defined as a type of interface. And so the position, so give position 1 to 10, any number you want to give. Then give name, whatever name you want to give. By this way, you have defined an array of various values, and this array is passed to the data source, and this data source is given to the table's data source. So by this way, you can show up the data. If I will remove any of this array value, let's say I have commented, so it will show up only one. So by this way, I can show as many data as I want to show. Now another thing, in the table, this is the common thing. Just simply copy paste this thing, this much, again and again. The first one is the position. You can see here one more array is created, display column name. So in the display column, it is a type of string, means how many columns you want in your table. So I want number, name, weight, and symbol. These are the columns I want. So I will create position, name, weight, and symbol, 4 columns. In these 4 columns, array is passed named as display column and passed to the table via this. The row, first one is the header row, second one is the data row. What data I want to show up. So in the header row, my header row pass the same array. We usually pass the same. If you want to show up different column names than the data name, then we can pass different two arrays, but make sure it should have same number of elements. Means if the 4 elements are passed in the interface, then the 4 columns should be there. Now let's say here four display columns are there. So position, name, weight, symbol. So position, name, weight, symbol. These four uh, containers I have to create, and in the four container I have to pass four. Uh, I have to type four headers. So here is the first header, which is given name as number. So here the number is. Here the name is header name is name. So here the name. Save the weight. So here the weight. So but likewise, because I want to show column four column names are passed, four headers are given. Now I want to show the data. So my data comes from this element data array. So that is already given to element data interface, and that array is passed to the data source. To get the values of each attribute from the array, what I can do is in Angular provides a functionality of element. So element is a variable that is given default by Angular. So simply let is the uh, data type. In C we have number, character, integer, character, float. So in Angular we have let and const. So use let for element, so that by that way you can assign any value, either integer or character or string as well. So define a variable named let in each td, and give elements position, give elements name, elements weight. Because our array has position, name, weight, symbol, four attributes, we are accessing those four attributes using this element variable. I hope this is clear until now. So by that way, we are defining a static header, and we are defining a dynamic values variable using the element position, name, weight, symbol. Okay, so this is how the for D can go to the material and material site and check how table works, because the table definition is bit different than the normal HTML definition of table. So this is the way we can show table in the site. Next is expansion panel. This is also known as accordion. So let's go to the expansion panel. So in expansion panel, when we click on any of this, it shows certain content. When I click, it shows some content. So for that also I have copied this thing. This is also known as accordion. So let me go to the code HTML portion. So here I have simply copied everything and pasted over here. In also mat expansion, because I have created two expansion panels. Here two expansion panels, first one and second one. Now here based on the requirement we can design this, whether hide on toggle or whatever you want to see. As you can see, when I click this, when I click this one, this gets hide, but when I click this also gets no, both are okay. This is the functionality given. Hide toggle means on click, if another is open, let the first one gets closed. For that, this attribute is given. Now what header you want to give to your expansion panel? So for that, here is the header portion. Next is what rest of the data you want to show as a content. Here except the header portion, the p tag means the data content portion, so you can write your content over here. The same way, a header over here and content over here. Here a bit design thing is given, like on closed panel open state equal to false. Again the variable, so variable is created, its boolean value is false. If it's false, means keep it closed. If it's true, then keep it open. So it's like this. Can you see the closed and open over here? So to update this tag value, we have used this. If it is closed, then the value if false, means this is like a conditional operator in C. If it is true, then open. If it is false, then close. So these are two strings generated, which works based on the state of the expansion panel. Okay, so if I will open, the variable value gets changed to open. If I close, variable value goes to close, by that way. So this is how accordion works. And last one is the form. In the form I have taken almost everything, like checkbox, radio button, for anything you want to use in the form. So I think I have already explained how the form works. For creating a form, my form starts from here. I have taken a card to form because I want a background, so that's why I have taken a card, and I have set a card's header a simple mat form, which is here. Inside the card I have content. For that content I need to register a form. So as I said earlier, that for form we need a form group. So here my form group is options, named is option. Now the very first thing I have used is a checkbox. So here is a mat checkbox because I'm using material. So whenever you are using any element of whether checkbox, so that goes with the form. So with for a form group you must have a form control. So everything, whether it is checkbox, whether it is radio button, whether it is a input field, everything must have a form control name. As you can see here, it is not having a form control name, means this form control is not registered with this form group. You can write, it will show up in the front end, but this form control will not get registered with the form group. Okay, so here the first checkbox, which is having a name as hide required control, hide required marker. Whatever you will write outside the tag, I mean in between the starting and closing, will show up as a label. And as we know the checkbox functionality, check uncheck. Next is the radio button. So my name is float label. Okay, now auto and always are the two values I have given. So mat radio button value is auto, right? The label is auto and always. This is our radio button. Next three things are the next two things are the this one values. Here you we can see the placeholder is fixed. Here we can see the placeholder goes up. So for that, here are the this one, how the placeholder, like simple placeholder, but how it works is hide require marker. If this checkbox is checked unchecked, based on that this works. Okay, but that is fine, that is not of use for us as of now, as we are going to the front end portion only. Here in the next appearances field, but float label equal to control value, based on the control value it works. So if I click on this, my this one the placeholder goes up, else it comes down. So this is how it works. These are the techniques how you can make your form more user friendly and more informative. And the last one is the drop down. A drop down is to click on this and it opens some options. So here is the drop down known as mat select. In the mat select we have first option is none and second option is option. Here and the value is given. This is how the mat select work. For this you can go to the material side. For radio button go, for checkbox go to checkbox, for date picker go to date picker. What we need to do is just copy the whole HTML portion, paste over there, and it will start showing up. So this is how this demo application I have created. The basic things I have used and the basic uh, components of material by which we can create any application which is having a Google type look and feel, as well as the basic component. I mean how we can create a sample application and simple application as well. So I hope this is clear for you guys until now what is explained. I'm handing over to Vishruti, the ma'am. Thank you ma'am for the time. It's up to you now.
Okay, thank you so much, Joel sir. It was very useful and informative session for our students. I would like to thank you. Hello.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sir. I would like to thank you on behalf of Parul University for giving your valuable time and support, sir. Okay, sir. Students want to ask you just we will take just one or two questions, sir. Okay,
Mhm.
sir. Students exactly want to ask that what is the key difference between Angular exception expression and JavaScript exception?
Is it X option or expression?
Expression, Java expressions.
Java expression. There is
Yes, sir.
no Java or JavaScript.
JavaScript
JavaScript,
expression.
na? There is no
Huh.
much difference in Angular and JavaScript. Whatever we are using in JavaScript, the same way we are using in Angular as well. But in the Angular, more expressions are added. I mean, you can use more functions. Same way in my session, I have shown you toggle. So that toggle is there in JavaScript, but it is also over here in Angular as well. But the click events, the mouse over mouse event, those are the certain events not there, but those are available in Angular as well. So few modification and add-ons are given in Angular.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. The second question is, which website will be the faster if it is either developed in Angular or it is developed in JavaScript or jQuery?
It is ideally in current scenario, Angular's website is always faster. But if we have created very big website, like a big size website, then there are a possibility that it can take more time compared to the JavaScript or jQuery. But if you create exactly same website, then the Angular one will load faster.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for giving answers. Students actually wants to know about backend development. They're so much
Mhm.
impressed about that front-end development. So next time, sir, we will arrange one more session of yours.
Mhm.
So I would like to thank you, sir, for giving your time and support to our students. Thank you so much, Joel, sir. And now we
Thank
are,
you. Thank you from
yeah.
my end as well for inviting me for sharing the knowledge. I hope that was
Okay.
useful.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so
Okay.
much, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Have a great day. Bye.
Same to you, sir. Okay.